This must make you feel very encouraged about the future?
Very encouraged. It initially, an awful lot of people around the country thought that this was a lot of nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
And they thought it would go away. In many cases, that was wishful thinking. They really wanted to get on with business as usual. They were absolutely convinced. Many people, because of their experience, their background, are absolutely convinced that you just can't do it without heavy dependence upon pesticides
mm-hmm.
and so forth. And I respect that. I respect their concern. I know an awful lot of extension agents who simply do not have any experience with that kind of production. And they are concerned that they don't want to tell farmers or advise farmers to do something that's going to cause failure.
Sure.
You know, that's just being responsible.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, there are success stories out there, and now there's an increasing body of scientific knowledge which unpacks and explains those success stories. It also, the scientific information also helps us understand the failures and to predict the difference between a failure and a success.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I get really excited. It's where we move out of the realm of the grateful testimonial into the realm of a predictive science where we can help the farmer to make an informed choice, to make that transition from heavy dependence upon the pesticides to systems that are either free of or have greatly reduced dependence upon those chemical inputs. And I find this is, well, it's imperative that we do this for a number of reasons. Many people are concerned about the health
mm-hmm.
impacts of pesticides. I'm personally convinced that the major health impact of pesticides is direct exposure,
mm-hmm.
that the farm workers and so forth, and those who, I suspect also that the pesticides in the drinking water over a long period of time may also have a detrimental health effect. But that's one concern. Another is the fact that that more and more pesticides are becoming obsolete.
Mm-hmm.
You almost never kill all of the pests, and those that survive are
tough.
They're tough, and they're tough with respect to that particular compound or compounds of that general type. And so you have an astonishing increase in the number of pests and insects, mites, weeds that are simply resistant to the chemicals.
Mm-hmm.
So pesticides are being taken away through regulatory action, just left and right. Hardly a month goes by that a major pesticide isn't taken off the market, or manufacturers are failing to re-register them for various uses. Fewer and fewer new chemicals are coming online because of the enormous cost, like $60–70 million cost to develop and get registration for a new material. More and more pesticides being obsolete because of pest resistance. More and more farmers alarmed about the health risks and wanting alternatives. And for all of these reasons, we've just got to get busy developing better alternatives. The farmers want it, society demands it, and the LISA program is beginning to deliver on that need. I'm very encouraged. I'm encouraged with the response of the scientific community. They're laying aside their misconceptions. They're getting out there, talking to the farmers. They're measuring what's happening. They're dispelling a lot of the myths on both sides. Myths on the one end of the continuum that say, all you have to do is throw away those terrible pesticides and you'll live happily ever after. Cold turkey. Well, that's a myth.
Yes.
The myth at the other end of the continuum is if you take away any of our pesticides, or particularly if you make a substantial reduction in pesticide use, there will be massive starvation. Both of those are myths. And we need to get on with the process of improving the alternatives. It's not just a matter of comparing what we know today about conventional agriculture with what we know today about sustainable agriculture, but rather redressing the deficiencies. We've had 30, 40, 50 years of intensive research on chemical agriculture, and now we're playing catch-up ball.
Mm-hmm. Do you see the problem as one of needing more research, or is it more of getting information to the right people?
It's both. if we had just the process of getting the information to the people, the well would soon run dry. We're talking about a moving target. You may come up with a mechanism or procedure for dealing with a certain disease, and it really, really works. Maybe you come up with a disease-resistant cultivar of wheat. A few years down the road, it's not going to work anymore because the disease organisms evolve also.
Sure.
And so the disease-resistant cultivars of the 1950s and 60s just get eaten up by diseases today. So that's an example of the need to continually refresh, renew, extend. There are many, many biological, physical phenomena going on that we simply don't understand. We need to know more about the rhizosphere. We need to know more about the biological nitrogen fixation processes and various interactions, ecological interactions with regard to pests and beneficials and irrigation and moisture and soil fertility and all these different realities that come together on a farm. We need research to unpack and understand the various components. We also need integrative research that pulls it together into a whole farm perspective. We need research that unpacks the financial and ecological dimensions of alternative farming methods. And along with that, we need a mechanism for delivering the findings to farmers and other users in readily usable fashion. It's not enough just to do a referee journal article and publish it in a language that only a few of your esteemed colleagues will understand. I mean, that's necessary. We've got to have that, and people have to do that to survive in the reward system. But that's not going to solve the world's problems.